So I wanted to bring Pastor David J. Smith up about this because now, 2 years ago, we had a pastor in Pennsylvania, then one in Ohio. Pastor Butch Paul here on the network covered it. We brought it out to a big audience here, but he broke it. We got the documents. We posted them. Butch broke it. We got the documents. Give him credit where credit's due. We put the documents up with the blacked out name of the preacher. They still knew who it was and went after him and threatened him. He has a big church. Kicked him out of the hospital where for free he went and was a chaplain for those dying. And they told him, we're going to train folks to turn in their guns, have their children taken, go to camps, go to labor camps. And we put the documents up, and people didn't believe it. Then a year plus later, local news and other news outlets, NBC and others, reported, but they said it was good. People say, well, you report mainstream media. They're a bunch of liars. Why are you quoting them? No. Most of the time they tell the truth. They just put a spin on it that it's good. And they said martial law is good. And they have the pastor going, do what the government says. And we now bring you to Pastor David J. Smith to talk about that, Romans 13, all of it. Pastor, thank you for coming on with us.
It's my pleasure, Alex.
Just tell us a little bit about yourself first, Newswatch Magazine, the website, everything you do a little bit, and then get into your take on what's happening.
Okay, we started Newswatch Magazine in August of 1980. That was the first issue. We've published ever since. And we watch world news in the light of Bible prophecy. We talk about a lot of the same things that you do, except we give scripture from the Bible showing how this is rising and how it's going to affect us, whom it's going to affect. And so anyway, we've done this for years. We were on radio from 1982 all the way through till about 4 years ago. And now we have television programs that we rotate all across the country, and we're on DirecTV, Central Standard Time on Channel 367, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night at 11 p.m., and we talk about the same things. Okay, now, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I want your take on the 26,000 preachers recruited to train their flocks to go to FEMA camps, turn their guns in. I mean, this is so diametrically opposed to our republic. Basically, the points I was making before I went to you in the last minute or two.
Okay, basically, we were founded as a Christian nation. And those in the liberal media, they will try to deny it till the cows come home, but they can't do it. It's in all the documents that we have. Every single state within the United States, all of the preambles, all of the constitutions, all of our forefathers said that this is a Christian nation. Therefore, we were founded upon Christian beliefs, better known as the Ten Commandments. They gave us a Bill of Rights because they saw what was happening in Europe. There was a church and state combination, and the state would follow the direction of the church, and anyone who did not agree with what was going on, then they were persecuted. Our government wanted to make sure that we had that no church, single church organization would gain control and be able to have that massive power. They also saw that in every case they would always disarm the people, and therefore they had no way to stand up for their rights. That's why they put the Second Amendment to the Constitution. The First Amendment, the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and so on, because they had no redress of their grievances before kings. And so our entire Constitution was built for what was going on at that time and the way that they were going to sever those relationships with Europe and create a free society. Now, unfortunately, our Constitution was written in such a way that a Mr. Charles Merriman, back in the 1930s, was hired by Franklin Delano Roosevelt to change the Constitution to a democracy. And he said that our Constitution was loosely written and they could create court cases to interpret it, and they would change it to a socialized government. And that's exactly what's happened. Now, every socialized government, when you read Marxism and Leninism and so on, you'll find that their first step is socialism. And in order to go on to the communist man, you have to go and create a dictatorship. Eliminate the weak people, the resistors, and then supposedly the state will wither away over a period of time. Now, that's nothing but a hoax. There has not been one single communist country, and communism was founded by the international bankers who are wanting to set up a one-world economic system, no coins, no cash, no checks, only a mark or a chip so that you can run it across a scanner and they can control you that way.
And by the way, if people aren't Christians and don't believe this, it doesn't matter, because they're announcing they're going to face scan everybody when you buy and sell to stop people from, quote, buying cigarettes and beer. See, that's their excuse. The cashless grid is going in, whether you deny it or not, folks. It's happening.
That's right. And they always come up with a logical reason that is acceptable by people as to why they're implementing a program, but they always carry it the second and the third step until finally they reach the conclusion they want a more solid police state. And that's what's happening with this young man and all of these ministers. They've been visited. They've been talked to about telling the people that they should obey the government at all costs. Well, that's not what he says in Romans 13. Romans 13 of the Bible does say that you should get along and you should follow the laws of the nation as long as those laws don't violate God's laws, or as long as they're not usurpers of the legitimate government, then you are to obey it. Our legitimate government is a constitutional republic.
Pastor David J. Smith continued. I mean, the whole Bible, and even if people aren't Christians out there, they need to understand that the government is taking over the churches, using religion, using Christians, but not just Christianity. They're infiltrating all the major religions and telling them, worship the government, do what they say, turn your guns in. We have the documents. It's now been in the news. It's so diabolical, and they tell them, render unto Caesar, when all of the disciples were killed for not following orders, when Jesus went into the money changers, when he wouldn't bow to government, when the prophets were always rebuking the government. And then they twist it and say, no, you've got to worship the government, all authorities of God. Well, wait a minute then. So the Founding Fathers were bad fighting England, or we were bad to fight Hitler because Hitler was authority, so he was of God? It is so sick. And then now, Pastor David J. Smith, on the face of it, the tyranny of the government having a relationship secretly with the pastors, I mean, that's right out of the Soviet Union.
It absolutely is. And not only that, there's a lot more in depth to this, and I don't know sometimes whether to even bring it up or not. But I guess if we're looking for truth, we better say it. Jesuit universities, there are Jesuits that's the Society of Jesus, and from the Catholic Church. They go out into organizations, even though they're priests, they dress just like the average person, infiltrate organizations, the Knights of Malta, and their goal is to bring everybody in the world back to the Catholic Church. There's 24 organizations minimum working inside the United Nations to bring about a one-world religion. In Clayton, Missouri, there's a United Nations library, and when I lived in St. Louis, I went to it, and in one of the books by Dag Hammarskjöld, he said that the head of the United Nations would be the political pontiff for the world when they established their world government. But then there would be a religious pontiff of Rome. And so once again, church and state together.